That you don't want to lose it all. This is a lot. Go to HomeTitleLock.com. Use the promo code Vince. That's HomeTitleLock.com. Promo code Vince. Paid subscription after 14-day trial ends. Cancel anytime. Well, it's happening. It is happening, ladies and gentlemen. John Bolton, former national security advisor to President Trump, he is now been placed. Well, he's not placed quite under arrest yet, but he's in the place where you don't want to be. You've got an FBI raid happening at his home this morning in Bethesda, Maryland. And that took place at 7 a.m. this morning. Here is some footage. This comes to us by way of Fox News. The cameras arriving after the FBI raid had already started. That's a huge contrast from the old days. Here's John Bolton's house, cut 10, being raided this morning.
Notable, guys, that John Bolton, Ambassador Bolton's security clearances were stripped earlier this year by President Trump. Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence, took that security clearance away. They had concerns. The administration had concerns about Ambassador Bolton still being able to access some of these documents and have some of those security clearances. It's also notable that John Bolton has a security detail as well, because of the threats from Iran on his life. That security detail, that government federal paid security detail, was also taken away by President Trump.
Yeah, all right. So in other words, President Trump, Tulsi Gabbard have been stripping John Bolton of all of these extraordinary privileges that he had by way of the American taxpayer in advance of this raid on his home and also his office today. The New York Post was the first to break the news this morning. They had these details about the raid on John Bolton's home. Here's what they had to say on the subject. They said that FBI agents have raided the D.C. area home of President Trump's former national security advisor, John Bolton, Friday morning in a high-profile national security probe. The Post can exclusively reveal federal agents went to Bolton's house in Bethesda, Maryland. That was at 7 a.m. this morning in an investigation ordered by FBI Director Kash Patel. A Trump administration official told the New York Post. Investigators were also en route to search his office Friday morning. In fact, fellas, we have footage of that as well. Here's the images at the office building this morning. FBI agents there, cut 11. Take a look at this.
The New York shot of his office in Washington, D.C., and we're looking right now, per our colleagues from Fox Digital on the scene, a couple of FBI agents loading some stuff into cars and leaving the scene. So clearly not as big of a presence at his Bethesda home, but notable that he was spotted at his office earlier today. We're told, I want to be very clear, that he's not facing any charges at this moment. He is not in custody. He is not under arrest at this moment.
Yeah, all right. So I've got additional information this morning that I want to share with you, what I'm learning today about all of this. A source that is familiar with what exactly took place this morning at John Bolton's home and office tells me that this is related to a national security investigation of John Bolton that was shut down by the Biden administration for political reasons. The move today is to go after Bolton because he's accused of stealing classified documents and then weaponizing them for political purposes. Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, and Dan Bongino, the deputy director of the FBI, were the men behind reopening this investigation. The leadership of the FBI decided to reopen this investigation, and that led to this morning's raid on John Bolton. Now, my source tells me that Bolton was not detained today, not detained, and that squares with some of the media coverage you're seeing elsewhere. But, and here's the big deal that you're not seeing everywhere else, he is fully expected to be charged in this case. So as we take a look here, it is worth going back a little bit to the details of what we know from the past about Bolton and the investigation that was underway into him. Remember, it was in 2020 that a criminal inquiry was opened by the United States Department of Justice into John Bolton's decision to publish a book that the Trump administration contended was full of classified information that he had no business sharing in public. The New York Times back then, that was September of 2020, reporting the Justice Department has opened a criminal investigation into whether President Trump's former national security advisor, John Bolton, unlawfully disclosed classified information in a memoir this summer, an inquiry that the department began after it failed to stop the book's publication, according to 3 people familiar with the matter. Now, pay attention to the next paragraph. This detail matters a lot, and it explains in no small part why John Bolton is being subjected to the type of overt investigative action you're seeing now. The second paragraph says the department has convened a grand jury, which issued a subpoena for communications records from Simon & Schuster, the publisher of Mr. Bolton's memoir, The Room Where It Happened. So in other words, back in 2020, a grand jury was impaneled to go after John Bolton. And in fact, the case began to mature to a really substantial point where you had judges involved, including a judge who had determined that John Bolton had done something completely inappropriate by moving forward with the publication of the book without getting the prior approval of the Trump White House, given that it involved National Security Administration, information rather. And that led us to June of 2021. So after Joe Biden is planted in office, you had Politico here coming out with this report at the time saying that the Justice Department has now dropped the Trump era investigation and the lawsuit over the Bolton book. The Justice Department on Wednesday, they said, this is back in June of 2021, dropped a Trump era lawsuit aimed at regaining profits from former National Security Advisor John Bolton's book. According to a source familiar with the situation, the department has also closed the related criminal investigation into whether Bolton's memoir illegally disclosed classified information. Further, while criminal cases against these high-level officials over these disclosures are notoriously rare, I claim, the decision by Biden appointees at the Justice Department to drop the suit was more surprising since the judge in the case had made clear he disapproved of Bolton's decision to move forward with publication of his book without final approval from the White House. So here, What's happening this morning? I'm already seeing a couple of people posting online. Well, why John Bolton? Of all people, why not Democrats? John Bolton is obviously a guy who's cast himself as a Republican throughout his career. He's just become a hair-on-fire anti-Trump lunatic. He spends all of his time, including this morning, in the midst of the FBI raid, attacking the president of the United States over his efforts to try and bring peace between Ukraine and Russia. And so some of the reaction this morning is like, oh, that's what Bolton. Why Bolton? Can't it be someone else? First of all, stop your whining. My God, it's pathetic.
1, 2, 3,
Grow up a little
4,
bit.
5.
Second, this, as I'm pointing out to you this morning,
Testing. One,
and I know this
2.
audience knows this. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the crazy people out there. This, as I'm pointing out to you this morning, is a well-developed investigation that has had years of effort already put into it. The guys at the FBI right now, Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, the whole crew that's working on all of these cases, they're not only working to figure out all of the cover-ups that have been going on at the FBI, they're trying to assemble cases against all of these vile people who have been completely tyrannical towards the American people. And yes, are there investigative pieces that have been done by places like Congress and special counsels that they can rely on? No question whatsoever. But clearly, these guys believe they have a mature investigation already developed into John Bolton that would predicate them taking such an overt action as raiding the guy's home and office this morning in the lead up to what my sources are saying are charges against John Bolton. This is clearly evidence of justice on the move. Now, as you watch the left-wing press this morning, they're saying that this is just tyranny run amok. President Trump is targeting his
political
let's see if
this microphone is working
just because they don't like him. And it's all such insanity. One of the clear lessons from this era that we've all lived through, and that we are now getting into a place where there's something to be done about all of the injustices, is that the left wields power tyrannically. They use it Soviet style. Show me the man, I'll show you the crime. President Trump is coming in as a corrective to that. In addition to his fixes on the border and his fixes on the economy and his fixes when it comes to crime, I've got a lot more on that coming up. He also has an accountability mission he has to fulfill. One that he ran on, one that he keeps talking about, one that his national security advisor, his director of national intelligence, now Tulsi Gabbard, keeps talking about, one that his FBI head has been and continues to keep talking about, one that Dan Bongino, the deputy director of the FBI, he's clearly fully invested in, one that Pam Bondi has shown a lot of appetite to pursue lately, to the point that I've gone from being very critical of her to being very encouraged by what she's done lately, one that Ed Martin, the weaponization czar, cannot be questioned on his effort to go after these people. It is underway. The story this past week has been, we have multiple grand juries impaneled all across the country designed to go after all of this weaponization in order to produce the kind of indictments that lead to those arrests and prosecutions and trials and convictions and sentences. The wheels of justice are publicly rotating right now. So we've got a lot to reflect on. But today, an overt action from the United States Department of Justice. Now, what are the heads of the FBI saying right now about this subject? We've got updates on that too. Kash Patel, in the middle of the raid this morning, in what is being described as a cryptic tweet, saying no one is above the law. FBI agents on mission. Now, that was at 7:03 a.m. this morning. That came before we even got early indications from the New York Post that this raid was underway. That's a big deal. And that's FBI Director Kash Patel saying, pay attention, something big is happening. Also, not only Kash Patel saying that this morning, Dan Bongino, FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino,
isn't that awesome?
Corruption
I mean,
will not be tolerated. People are
already.
That's at 7:16 this morning. Just as people were beginning to find out the news that John Bolton was being raided here. And I can't help but notice the stark differences here between the Bolton raid by the FBI and, say, the raid on Roger Stone back in 2019. Let's take you back in time. Remember how the FBI treated Roger Stone? Check this out. This is cut 12. This footage comes to us courtesy of CNN, who by some miracle knew to be standing outside of Roger Stone's home as the FBI arrived. Look.
We do have breaking news. This is the CNN exclusive video of Roger Stone being arrested by the FBI this morning. These are FBI agents. You can see them in protective gear approaching in the cover of darkness. Roger Stone's door. That is Roger Stone that you can see through the door as the agents pounded on his door and said, FBI warrant.
Stop the video.
Quite the event, huh? So CNN was present. Now, I noticed this today, and I posted already about. There's already some clear differences. I mean, think about the clear differences we've already determined. Just the ones that are readily apparent at this hour this morning. It's 10:15 a.m. Eastern time as I'm talking about this at the moment. The raid happening at 7 o'clock this morning, just over 3 hours ago. Some of the core differences here. The raid on Roger Stone occurred at 6 o'clock in the morning. They pushed it even an hour earlier. Roger Stone and his wife taken completely by surprise.
All right, here's another adjustment.
Guns drawn as they bore down
Hopefully
on the house.
You can hear me now over Vince. Well, he is talking.
Behind the house
and then when I stop him.
Just a completely crazy scene as they bore down on Roger Stone.
When I stop them, then does that sound good?
And those CNN cameras were present. Now, as I said, I posted this morning about this, that there's some key differences, and already a CNN reporter came back and said, well, CNN didn't get tipped off by the FBI. It wasn't the FBI. And then posted a link to some explanation that CNN tried to cook up years ago to try and justify why they had cameras out there that didn't include being tipped off by the FBI. And I am just here to say, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. That CNN, through some good old-fashioned gumshoe reporting, they figured out where to be the morning of Roger Stone's arrest and raid? Yeah, I don't think so. And given what you now know about the FBI and the corruption within that agency, do you think it's outside the bounds of possibility that the FBI was engaged in yet another politicized?
No.
Of course not. course.
That couldn't
so the
be
FBI was present
true.
CNN was present rather for the FBI raid on Roger Stone. Now contrast that with this morning. No media tip-offs ahead of the raid. No cameras present for the beginning of the raid.
Nope.
The only time that cameras started arriving at John Bolton's home today were after this was all being made public to begin with. And that's
Also,
it.
I put together a montage. Reuters was outside his house for an hour, and I went through there and clipped out every time there's movement around the house. And lots of documents, lots of boxes.
No CNN tip-off. So you compare and contrast. You tell me how this goes. It seems to me, if I'm just going to draw any conclusions from this, that this FBI is doing its job responsibly. That this FBI is handling its job the way you're supposed to, under the bounds of the law, with respect for the law, and for that matter, with respect for the accused, which you're supposed to do.
Hi, this is Dirk.
So that raid continues. No handcuffs on John Bolton yet, but charges expected in that case. Now, Bolton has, for his part, what has John Bolton said about the theft of classified information? Well, if we go to the public record, it turns out he's said quite a bit. Here's cut 13, John Bolton condemning President Trump for what he accused of being completely reckless with classified information. Take a look.
Give me a sense of where you think the truth lies with respect to Trump's intelligence, carelessness, and the degree to which he might have brought motive to bear on taking these documents out of the White House and keeping them for this long at Mar-a-Lago.
Well, it's very hard to speculate on motive other than that he liked cool things. He saw things so he wanted to take them, and he was pretty much able to take them, and not just on classified information matters, on all kinds of things that.
Oh, I'm sorry. That should be going to get to Gilbert's.
Okay, you want us to call it in there?
Yes, please.
Okay, and did I hear you correctly that you're going to pick it up on Monday?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Exactly what you wanted to know was all. So I will let her know.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Crossed his desk. Some days he liked to eat a lot of French fries. Some days he took classified documents. He wanted them. Why did he want them? Because he could get them.
Right. He's so completely petty. Some days you like eating French fries, and some days you like taking classified information because he just felt like doing whatever he wanted. He was the president of the United States, John Bolton, the president of the United States. And this whole thing, I mean, it's just amazing. The public record always shows this, that the people who make these ridiculous accusations are far too often actually guilty of the very thing that they're accusing President Trump of. And here's John Bolton today being raided by an FBI who does believe very seriously that this guy violated the law. Now, let me just add another thing that while we're on the subject. Do you think that the FBI undertakes this at the direction of Kash Patel and Dan Bongino unless they think they're on paid dirt right now? You think they want this very high-profile event to lead to nothing but a dud, to a fizzle out? No, there's a reason that Bolton is going among the first here in terms of these high-profile guys that they're going after. And I assure you, I can say this with complete confidence, he's not the last. He's not the last. There's more ahead. No question about it. Breaking news this morning, John Bolton. Now, it's his time in the barrel. So we'll see what happens next. I've got a lot more to share with you today. The President of the United States getting out there with law enforcement. We've got that saying hi to the cops who are cleaning up the city. Also, the President of the United States, he said at one point that you would get tired of winning. I'm not sure when that's going to come because I don't feel, as Hillary Clinton might say, in no way is tired. I've got some big records to share with you this morning, and they just keep coming. So we've got a lot ahead on this edition of Vince. Great to have you with us. As always, the best damn audience in media. Let me talk about our great sponsors who make this program possible. Hotspots, international roaming.
Speed it up a little bit, Chad. If you don't mind, go to 2 times.
There she is. Happy birthday, Anita. Great opportunity to point that out. I'm glad I remembered that. I started talking about Anita in the chat. I got to do happy birthday for Anita.
We're working with Clark Construction. One of the big ones, the biggest here. Incredible results. The results that come out, and it's like a different place. It's like a different city. It's the
Here's President Trump last night meeting with federal law enforcement and delivering pizza and White House-made burgers. First, here's the president meeting with law enforcement to thank him. Cut one. Take a look.
It's a healthy, attractive, looking good for people. But I just want to thank everybody very much for being here. I wanted to do this. We've had some incredible results. The results that come out, and it's like a different place. It's like a different city. It's the capital. It's going to be the best in the world. I'm going to do what you're doing. We're going to physically going back to Congress for some money, and we're going to redo a lot of the pavement, a lot of the medians, a lot of the graffiti's all coming off real fast. It's going to come down.
I love his idea on repaving. You don't have to. You see these paving companies; they tear up all of the concrete, go down to the ground. No, it's the top layer. It's that asphalt. So he's going to keep the foundation, just lay down 3 or 4 inches of asphalt, and in months it's going to be smooth. When you were a kid, didn't you like smooth asphalt with your skateboard?
Real fast. We're working with Clark Construction. One of the big ones, the biggest here.
Yeah, a lot to do. So he's basically, I love the way the president handles these public appearances. He always does this at rallies too, right? Where he goes out and not only does he thank people on the campaign trail, where he walks in a random restaurant.
When the National Guard hit the ground in Washington last week, that city.
DC. Well, I've got great news for you on this. The reality here is that with the president's crime crackdown, there have been dramatic reductions in crime in Washington,
D.C. Insane. Not a single murder in a week. Now, people are saying that it's never been a week without a murder, so we're going to check in with Grok real quick. is on average the past 3 years, how many murders are in Washington, D.C. on average during a single week? I'm going to say it's off. We'll put Grok in think harder mode. To calculate the average number of murders per week over the past 3 years, I'll use the available data from the provided web resources. The sources provide annual homicide totals, which I can divide, blah, blah, blah. Data from 2022, 203 homicides, 23, 274 homicides, and 24 with 187 homicides. And we know now there's an investigation being done over those statistics also from the past few years. So total homicides, 664. Total weeks over those 3 years is 156. Holy crap. Holy shit. There's 4.26 homicides every week in Washington, D.C. Wow. Gonna get a snapshot of this. Bolton. New. Wow, that's crazy. What do I want to do here? I want to copy that. Let's get back to Vince.
To the point that there has been not a single homicide over the course of the last, now I think we're going on 8 days. Take a look here. This is a news report discussing what is happening with crime in the nation's capital.
When the National Guard hit the ground in Washington last week, that city's crime fight went into overdrive. And now we're seeing the impact and the dramatic reductions in crime. When the National Guard rolled into Washington last week, the locals seemed skeptical.
The crime is minimal here. There's not really a lot of crime. It looks like window dressing to me.
But with the Guard on the ground, crime is on the decline. For the first time in a long time, D.C. has gone 7 days without a homicide. And that's not all. Carjackings are down 83%. Robberies are down.
I mean, how do you go? For the first time in a long time, I was almost too sleepy the way that he presented that. For the first time in a long time, we didn't have a single murder in the nation's capital. You know, at one point, Washington, D.C. was considered the murder capital of the country. And now the president, by virtue of law enforcement, simple law enforcement, no more death going on in the city. That's huge. And that's not the only number.
Right. And that's not all. Carjackings are down 83%. Robberies are down 46%. Car thefts down 21%. And overall violent crime is down 22%.
Wait, I'm sorry. I thought that the Washington Post just told me that there's no crime being stopped anywhere. I thought that the New York Times and CNN and MSNBC or whatever they call themselves now was telling me that the crime is not being stopped, that this is all theater, that it's having no effect, the city's not safer. And yet, what? The murder is down? To no murders over the last week? Carjackings are down 83%. Robberies are down 46%. Car thefts are down 20%. Violent crime is down 22%.
When you have these kind of numbers going down, it basically says this is a success, and that means people feel safer.
Like many big cities, Washington's police department is critically short-staffed.
People who don't feel safe aren't free.
Sergeant Betsy Smith with the National Police Association says it is ripe for federal help.
More police generally equals less crime.
What a novel idea. What a wild and crazy concept. You get more law enforcement out there enforcing the law, and then there are fewer people breaking the law. Wild. Absolutely wild. I've got more on the victory list to share with you. We've got some great stats coming up that you need to know about and then wield against your crazy lefty relatives and neighbors. Like, oh, did you know about this? I found out about it on the Vince show. Yeah, I'll tell you all about it. It's coming up in just a moment. The great sponsors of this program include Beam. Beam is awesome. You know, if there's something that all of us can believe in, it's hard work, self-reliance, and showing up for the people who count on us, preferably with gifts in hand when you can do it. But a while back, I was feeling like I wasn't really able to tap into my full energy because I was getting terrible sleep. And then I would drag myself through the next day on fumes. And I knew I had to find something that could help me break out of that cycle. And that's why and when I found Beam's Dream Powder. Now, Beam is proudly founded in America and it's run by people who share our values, hard work, integrity, and delivering results. It's a nighttime blend packed with science-backed ingredients shown to improve sleep. So you can wake up refreshed and ready to take on the day. Now, Dream is made up of a powerful blend of all natural ingredients. Reishi, magnesium, wonderful L-theanine, apigenin, melatonin. And here's the deal. Beam is giving you the ultimate Patriot discount of up to 40% off. So just try their best-selling Dream Powder and get up to 40% off for a limited time. It's delicious and effective. So go to shopbeam.com/Vince Show. Use the code Vince Show at checkout. That's shopbeam.com/Vince Show and use the code Vince Show for up to 40% off. And that code Vince Show is just one word. There's no space. There's just Vince Show straight through. It's great. Also, fall is planting season. Did you know that many plants and trees actually do better when they get planted this time of year? I was just out this morning surveying my yard, staring at my trees, checking on how everybody's doing. You've got to know where to start here. And that's why I love fastgrowingtrees.com. Doesn't matter if you live in the sunny south or if the air is getting chilly where you are. Their plant experts can help you find the perfect fit for your space. They have all the plants that your yard needs, like fruit trees and privacy trees, flowering trees, shrubs, and so much more. Order online, get your plants delivered directly to your door in just a few days without ever leaving home. Yeah, that's right. In fact, Fast Growing Trees, they sent me the red bud tree that I've been talking so much about this year. It looks perfect, and I can't wait to see it bloom next spring. This fall, they got the best deals for you and your yard, up to half off on select plants and other deals. And listeners to this program get 15% off their first purchase when using the code Vince at checkout. That's 15% off. Fastgrowingtrees.com. Use the code Vince at checkout. Now's the perfect time to plant. Use Vince to save today. Yeah, use me, baby. Use me. Use Vince to save today. The offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions may apply. Thank you to Fast Growing Trees. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Okay. So we do have some more updates on what's going on with cleaning up the crime problem in D.C. and around the country. Here is Doug Burgum. Remember him? He's the Interior Secretary, and part of his job is running the National Park Service over at Interior. He says the U.S. Park Police have done a great job. They've cleaned up all of the homeless encampments in the nation's, in D.C.'s national parks, the areas that the Park Service runs. Take a look here. Doug Burgum, cut 4, talking about the great success.
U.S. Park Police has removed all 72 of the homeless encampments that were on U.S. park property in this metro area. Working now with the task force in the last week, there's been over 25 more. I think we're over 100. Some of those were on on metro property, not federal property. But that part's being taken care of. And so vagrancy is going away. We're enforcing the vagrancy laws. Violence, we've rolled back the Biden era no pursuit policy. So the U.S. Park Police can now, when they pull somebody over that's got stolen plates, mixed plates, criminal records, those criminals were just fleeing. And there was a rule where they were under the Biden administration. The U.S. Park Police couldn't chase them. Now they can.
Yeah, okay, so let me dwell on that last point. It means so much. So first of all, the vagrancy issue is being taken care of. All of the homelessness that's completely out of control all across the country. The nation's capital has been cleaned up, and it's been cleaned up swiftly. The homeless encampments have been shoved out of the way. Heavy machinery has been brought out to collect all of the garbage and to throw it out. They're getting the homeless people off the streets and into shelters. The left just wants homeless people to rot away in the elements, to just die due to exposure. The normal people want to see mentally ill people taken off the streets and given the treatment that they need and the care that they need. So that's what's happening right now. The president seeing to that. All these homeless encampments being cleaned up, and it's made the city a lot safer for the people coming and going, especially as they visit the important tourist areas of the nation's capital, to see their own nation's capital. But that pursuit detail that Doug Burgum just shared. In Washington, D.C., you may or may not know, police at all levels, from the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department to other federal law enforcement, they've all been told by the left, you're not allowed to give chase. If somebody decides to take off in a car, you can't chase them. And for those of you in the audience who are law enforcement, tell me, do you think that's crazy? I happen to think it's crazy that you can't chase the bad guys when you have them in sight, when they go flying off. And I realize, one of the reasons that they offer is, well, we don't want to put more people in danger. A dangerous chase would potentially harm civilians. Well, what kind of harm is perpetrated if you just allow bad guys to constantly get away so that they can do more harm to Americans? We can't do that. You have to give chase. You have to demonstrate that there's a downside to fleeing. If the bad guys learn that all they have to do is flee, guess what they're going to do every time? Flee. It's completely crazy. And so in Washington, D.C., that has been the status of affairs. No longer. All of these officers are now allowed to pursue when these guys run off. They don't just have to watch the car disappear. So they're going after them. And so that's a huge change, a huge benefit to the American people that Doug Burgum and everybody else is handling. So that's great news as well. That's really great news. Okay. So that's where Doug Burgum is. Also, as a part of this law enforcement effort, they're picking up illegal aliens, a lot of them, and getting them out of the country. That's been a big thing. And we have some new estimates now on how many illegals are in the country. Pew has this estimate they put out. They claim that there are 14 million illegal aliens in the country as of 2023. That would have been 2 years ago. That number seems too small as far as I'm concerned. I bet you share my view on this, chat, that there's no way. It's got to be more than that. The president's been talking about upwards of 20 million or more due to Joe Biden's horrific abuse of our country. Pew says that Axios reporting on the Pew numbers, the number of unauthorized immigrants, that's how they describe them in Axios, illegal aliens, in the United States rose to a record 14 million in 2023, sparked by migration from countries other than Mexico, a new Pew Research Center analysis says. I love this. Like, this is brand new information. We knew this. Tens of thousands of Chinese nationals have been pouring across our border, and the media are just apparently waking up to this. And they're worried that it added, quote, fuel to the backlash that aided Donald Trump's return to the White House. Well, rightfully so. The American people want mass deportations. They want all of these illegals ejected from the country. And one of the other data points in this is that Pew alleges that over the last few months, since January, since President Trump came in office, that 1.5 million foreigners at every level, legal and illegal aliens, have left the country. They say 1.5 million. That's a great start, but that's not actually the real number, as Pew assesses it. I trust more the Center for Immigration Studies here. Senator Eric Schmidt sharing those numbers recently. Overall, the foreign-born population in the United States is down 2.2 million from the president's arrival until July. The illegal population itself has fallen approximately 1.6 million. That's through July of this year. And that's by virtue of both forced deportations, people taken into custody, and also self-deportations, people looking at the looking up and saying, oh boy, I know what time it is. I'm going to get kicked out of this country, and I'm not going to be able to do it on my own terms. Now you have people leaving the country. So that's a huge number. Earlier, we've talked on the show before that about 1 million people have picked up and left. And now the numbers are looking closer to well over 1.5 among all foreigners who are leaving the country. That population is down by 2.2 million. So the numbers are headed in the right direction. Do we want to see more aggressive change more quickly? Yeah, absolutely. But that's a very big deal. So good to see that for sure. What else do we have here? We've got these guys leaving the country, and the Trump administration is going for more. Now, you ready for this number? This one's mind-boggling. The Trump administration is now reviewing all 55 million foreigners who have visas in the United States for any violations. I'm sorry, what? We have 55 million visa holders all over the planet right now? Now, I'll stipulate right up front that not every visa holder is in the United States as we speak. But there are so many people who have visas. When was the last time we did any vetting of all of this? The Associated Press reporting the Trump administration is saying Thursday it's reviewing now more than 55 million people. Guys, we have a country, our population in our country is just over 300 million. For context, 55 million people have visas? 55 million people are now being reviewed who have valid U.S. visas for any violations that could lead to deportation, part of a growing crackdown on foreigners who are permitted to be in the United States. In a written answer to a question from the Associated Press, the State Department said all U.S. visa holders, which can include tourists from many countries, are subject to continuous vetting with an eye towards any indication they could be ineligible for permission to enter or stay in the country. Should such information be found, the visa will be revoked, and if the visa holder is in the United States, he or she will be subject to deportation. So a systematic review of 55 million visas being held. There were 12.8 million green card holders and 3.6 million people in the U.S. on temporary visas last year, according to the Department of Homeland Security. Now, they go on here to reveal a piece of news that I think is just great. Let's also talk about this. The United States is also set to stop, under the Trump administration, ready for another victory? They're stopping issuing worker visas for commercial truck drivers. Secretary of State Marco Rubio just announced yesterday on X. He said this change is effective immediately. Now, this will come. That news is going to come as a massive boon to American truck drivers, American commercial truck drivers. It means that they're not going to have their salaries, their wages, their earning potential devalued by foreign competition being imported willy-nilly into the United States. This will help American workers. And need I remind you, commercial driving is, in almost every state in our country, the #1 job. Commercial driving. We have a lot of American truck drivers out there. And so Marco Rubio has announced that scam is over. The government is not going to keep selling out American workers on this. Effective immediately, we're pausing the issuance of worker visas for commercial truck drivers. The increasing number of foreign drivers operating large tractor-trailer trucks on U.S. roads is endangering American lives and undercutting the livelihoods of American truck drivers. That's the point that I just emphasized, their livelihoods. But the other point that does matter a great deal is that foreign drivers have been endangering American lives. And we saw that in horrific detail last week in Florida when an illegal alien from India last week Tuesday tried to execute an illegal U-turn through an official use only turnaround on a Florida highway, killing 3 people. And then when authorities talked to the guy, what they established was he barely speaks English and he can't read road signs. For instance, can you read the road sign that says official use only? Apparently not. Killing a bunch of people. And so this has to end. And so these guys are doing something about it. So for those of you who are truck drivers out there, chat, any truck drivers out there? How you feeling about this? The Trump administration standing up for American truck drivers, stopping the issuance of visas for foreigners to take those jobs, and standing up for safety on American roadways. We need people who can both speak English and read signs to be able to do this. A couple truck drivers now weighing in, people saying, yeah, absolutely. And that this is what they want. I think this is what you want. Is this what you want? This part of the victory, the winning that you were looking for? Yes, love it. Okay. So there you go. Yeah, I'm a truck driver, says T. Clark 2274. Thank God and bless Trump. Thank God and bless Trump. Are we okay with a show where I talk about victories? Is that a good thing? Is that good? Because I do think that that's worthwhile. We have another one to share with you. Oh boy, we have a lot to share with you, actually. Here's one this morning. This is a good one. The New York Times reports this morning, the year is going to end with 300,000 fewer federal workers. Over 250,000 fewer federal workers in the government. According to a Trump administration official, the reduction marks the largest single-year decline in federal employment since World War II. There will be some 300,000 fewer federal workers on the government payroll by the end of December than there were in January, according to the Trump administration's top human resources official. That amounts to the loss of about 1 in 8 federal civilian workers and would be the largest single-year reduction since World War II. But in an interview with the New York Times on Thursday, the director of the Office of Personnel Management, Scott Cooper, painted the coming few months as a period of relative stability after a time of tremendous upheaval. He said the resignation incentives first introduced by DOGE accounted for the bulk of the 300,000 departures. He said most would be officially separated by the end of September and others by the end of the year. Most have already stopped working, even though they remain on the payroll. So they're getting rid of everybody. They're paring down the federal government. So, if I'm summarizing a couple of the details that I've shared with you, it's actually hard to even remember what we've talked about so far in this hour. The wheels of justice are turning. You have raids on the homes of people who stand credibly accused of abusing their power for tyrannical purposes. You have no more murders over the course of an entire week in Washington, D.C., once known as the murder capital of the country. You have law enforcement out allowed to do its job, allowed to pursue bad guys. You have homelessness being cleaned up everywhere. The president of the United States is standing with law enforcement, going out on the road and feeding everybody as a way to thank them yesterday and giving them actual verbal updates on the efforts he's undertaking to protect the country right now. You've got the nation's truck drivers having their jobs protected by a government that's actually looking out for them and the safety of American citizens. You have illegal aliens being deported and self-deporting out of the country by the millions. And you have a federal government workforce that's shrinking dramatically because we're $37 trillion in debt and we don't have any more money to spend on you.
How you doing?
Sounds like a pretty good run. A generational run by the president of the United States. And how can I go away from today's program without also mentioning that Letitia James had her ass handed to her yesterday in court as an appeals court said, yeah, that $500 million fine that she and that goofball Judge Engoron had imposed on President Trump, that goes away. That goes bye-bye. That's gone. That whole thing is gone. And the president is getting his bond money back. They stuck him with like a $175 million bond. All that money's coming back out of the Trump organization. Boy, man, it would really suck if something else happened to Letitia James that made her miserable. Oh, yeah, that's right. She's under federal investigation. The grand jury is being impaneled against her, and Ed Martin is hot on her big ass. It's crazy. It's crazy what's happening for her right now. But, she deserves it. She made that bed. Now she can lie on it. So there's what's happening with Letitia James. I've got some craziness today to also share with you out of the Commonwealth of Virginia. In Arlington, Virginia, this is one of those school districts where they keep letting boys into the girls' locker rooms, and that's not just high school boys, also adult men who pretend to be women. For those of you in the D.C. metro area, by now you've probably heard this name, but maybe perhaps nationally you've heard this too. There's a sex offender by the name of Richard Cox. I swear to you, that's his real name. He pretends to be a woman, and then he goes into, take a look at this guy. Let me just show you how insane this person is. This is Richard Cox, and he's been going into Northern Virginia pool facilities for girls and pretending that he's a woman. He's just a really ugly dude. He comes right out of Perth Central Casting. Look at that dude. And so he keeps going, he's a sex offender. He keeps going into all of these places. So in Arlington, Virginia, they've got this huge problem where the officials keep selling out the girls. They keep allowing sex offender men into the locker rooms, and they also are allowing boys to go into these spaces, and it's led to all sorts of chaos. And so yesterday, Virginia's Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears, she's running for governor right now. Virginia's got this off-year election cycle, so the election's this year for governor. Virginia's Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears decided that she would personally attend the Arlington School Board meeting in order to rip the leaders in that school board a new one. Take a look at Cut 5. Here's Winsome Sears yesterday. It's Cut 5.
No.
Good evening. My name is Winsome Earl Sears. I'm a Marine. I am a mother. I'm a grandmother. I'm an immigrant to this great country. It was my job growing up in Jamaica to dust the picture of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I also served as vice president on the Virginia State Board of Education.
Well, there you go. That
qualifies
you. I dusted the picture of Martin Luther
It's dangerous. It's insane, and it has to stop. Here's the truth. There are two sexes, boys and girls, and for generations we've understood this, that they deserve their own sports teams, their own locker rooms, their own bathrooms. That's not discrimination. It is common sense. But here in Arlington, the trust between parents and schools is being broken. When girls lose their privacy, when boys are punished for speaking plain truth, when parents are silenced for simply asking questions, that's not education. That's indoctrination.
I mean, what the hell is wrong with that school board? What the hell?
No. And she mentioned boys being punished. In Loudoun County, Virginia, there were some boys who were punished after they were filmed by a girl who was using their locker room. The girls in the locker room filming the boys reporting this to the school authorities. Guess who gets in trouble? The boys got suspended by the school system in Loudoun County. Just in case you're wondering how crazy Northern Virginia is, just outside the nation's capital. I'm telling you, President Trump should personally go and strip them all of their federal funding, take it away, hundreds of millions of dollars. Bye-bye. It's gone. I'd love to see him do that. We'll see if he does. But outside of that meeting in Arlington, Virginia, crazy Arlington, Virginia, there was also some wild action happening there. There was a woman a lefty woman carrying a racist sign to attack the lieutenant governor. Take a look at cuts. Well, before I show this cut to you, actually, I want to show you a picture of the sign. Probably worthwhile to show you a photo first. Here. Oh, you have the photo? Okay. All right, let's show everybody what's going on here. Okay, so you can see in the image, for those of you who are watching us, it says, "Hey, Winsome." This lefty's holding up the sign. "If trans can't share your bathroom, then blacks can't share my water fountain." Now you see what she's doing. She's reverting back to form. It's just an age-old Democrat talking point that black people can't share her space because she's white, she's a lefty, and she's a bigot. Hey, Winsome, if trans can't share your bathroom, then blacks can't share my water fountain. So an attack on the black Republican lieutenant governor of Virginia. It's the craziest thing. What is wrong with these people? And Winsome Sears has reacted.
Oh, is there a White House briefing?
Right after this started going
Looks
viral.
like there might be a White House
This is the tolerant left, Abigail Spanberger. Besides Abigail Spanberger is the Democrat running against Winsome Sears. I'm the sitting lieutenant governor, second in command of the former capital of the Confederate States. I'm an immigrant, a Marine. Yeah, that's right. Winsome Sears is a United States Marine. And above all, a human being. There's no place for this disgusting hatred in our Commonwealth. Anyone who doesn't condemn this sign is complicit in approving it. Well, guess what's happening this morning? Democrats are silent on that vicious statement, that vile statement by one of their own attacking Winsome Sears. And this is par for the course for these Democrats. You know, in Virginia politics, this just keeps happening. These guys keep stepping on rakes, these Democrats, in the lead up to these big elections. In fact, look back to, here's cut 9. That back in the governor's race when Youngkin was running, Terry McAuliffe screwed up his Democrat run for governor by saying
questions today from the media. Those questions will largely center around that specific issue.
Okay. Here's the president. This is the press conference coming up.
Guy does a phenomenal job with FIFA. Nobody like him. I'm delighted to welcome FIFA President Gianni Infantino back to the White House for a major announcement about one of the most anticipated competitions in all of sports.
All right, let's make a big screen, please.
2026, and this is a big deal, I'll tell you. I was so happy to get it. The 2026 FIFA World Cup. And it's going to be the World Cup as well.
All right, let's listen in.
The biggest, probably the biggest event in sports, I guess, Johnny, right? Yeah. On December 5th of this year, the 2026 FIFA World Cup draw will take place at the Kennedy Center. Some people refer to it as the Trump Kennedy Center. But we're not prepared to do that quite yet, maybe in a week or so. But right here in Washington, D.C., it's a tremendous honor to bring the global event and this incredible group of people and these unbelievable athletes, the best athletes in the world, to the cultural center of our nation's capital. I just left the Kennedy Center. We're spending a lot of money wisely on making it really beautiful. It's going to be beautiful again. It's like Washington, D.C. We had, by the way, in Washington, D.C., we have the lowest crime numbers they've had in years. 0, it sounds like it's a horrible thing to say, but I might as well say it. 0 murder.
Wrong. There was an average we discovered of 4.26 homicides per week. And then to double check, said based on available data, can you determine if there was a week with 0 murders? Based on the available data, I can confirm that there were at least 2 documented weeks with 0 murders between 22 and 24. Trump was wrong. March 25th, after Trump was elected. That's funny. 16-day homicide streak was reported. That's 2 full weeks without murder. And then again, and that's now. So there'd been no weeks with 0 murders until Trump came into office. And now there's been 3 weeks total with 0 murders. There you go. Stuff it. You know, the media, they research, Trump was lying. There's been more than a week without a murder. And then they'll never tell you. It's like, yeah, the other ones were when Trump was in office too. All during Biden, murders every week. Too much fun. Let's get back to... where'd I put him? There we go. Sorry about that. All right, share the screen.
Very long because we'll take it over with the federal
Rewind it just a bit,
like it's
Chad.
supposed to be run. It's in the world to the cultural center of our nation's capital. I just left the Kennedy Center. We're spending a lot of money wisely on making it really beautiful. It's going to be beautiful again. It's like Washington, D.C. We had, by the way, in Washington, D.C., we have the lowest crime numbers they've had in years. Zero, it sounds like it's a horrible thing to say, but I might as well say it. Zero murders in the last week since we've done this. That's the first time in memory that that's happened. If you can believe it, how pathetic that is to have to even say it. And I'm tired of listening to these people say how safe it was before we got here. It was unsafe. It was horrible. And Mayor Bowser better get her act straight or she won't be mayor. The National Guard has been unbelievable. Saying zero murders for people and these unbelievable athletes, the best athletes in the world, to the cultural center of our nation's capital. I just left the Kennedy Center. We're spending a lot of money wisely on making it really beautiful. It's going to be beautiful again. It's like Washington, D.C. We had, by the way, in Washington, D.C., we have the lowest crime numbers they've had in years. Zero, it sounds like it's a horrible thing to say, but I might as well say it. Zero murders in the last week since we've done this. That's the first time in memory that that's happened. If you can believe it, how pathetic that is to have to even say it. And I'm tired of listening to these people say how safe it was before we got here. It was unsafe. It was horrible. And Mayor Bowser better get her act straight or she won't be mayor very long because we'll take it over with the federal government, run it like it's supposed to be run. The numbers were horrible. It was a crime-infested rat hole, and they do have a lot of rats. We're getting rid of them too, and we've made a lot of progress. And it was extremely unsafe, and now it's extremely safe. We had virtually no crime. The number was down 87%, and I'm trying to figure out where was the 13% because I don't think it existed. The National Guard has been unbelievable, and they're working with the police. And they have some very good people in there. They have some people that shouldn't be police, actually, but they have some great people there. And the Washington, D.C. is a whole different place. And Johnny, I'm sure you'll be happy to hear that too, actually.
Oh, yes.
But it's a whole different place. People are excited again. They're going out to restaurants again. That was the other thing I saw numbers. That restaurant business is down in the last week. Restaurant business, you can't get into a restaurant. Just really lying people. And that's why people don't understand how bad and how dishonest the press is. I saw one poll that had us at 19% favorable on what we're doing with Washington. And then I saw another one that has us 94% favorable. And I can tell you the 94% is correct. The others are fake, just fake.
Oh my gosh.
We gotta get their act together. So bad for our country. So sick, actually.
I'd reset something and my camera was gone and my mic was off. But yeah, Open Table, their reservations are down by 25% from a year ago. And from a year ago before that, they were down about the same. And the year before that, they were down about, you know why? There's nobody in Washington, D.C. They all go on summer vacation this time of the year. But reservations this week through the roof from multiple restaurants being reported.
So Washington, D.C. is really doing unbelievably well. And the Kennedy Center that we're fixing, I was just there all morning with contractors. We're making it unbelievable. It's going to be unbelievable. It's got great bones, but it needs a lot of work. The World Cup draw will set up the group stage of competition. 48 teams will play in 104 games across 16 North American cities from Seattle to Vancouver to Atlanta to Miami. It's going to be so exciting for our country. The 2026 FIFA World Cup will be one of the largest and most complex events. This will be one of the greatest events. In a way, it's like Johnny said it better. It's like having many Super Bowls in a short period of time. Yep. Each one of these games essentially is a Super Bowl. Some of them are bigger than Super Bowls, actually. But they're essentially, each one of these games is like a Super Bowl. The 2026 FIFA World Cup will be the largest, most complex set of events in sports history. And the Kennedy Center will give it a phenomenal kickoff, and we'll be involved, and they'll be working over there for quite a bit of time. We have it all set that they can stay there for the big events, the big press conferences, and everything else. And they'll be in a very safe capital. That'll be nice. You don't have to worry about walking down the streets, Johnny, okay? But you can handle yourself. Already, FIFA is projecting 6 million loyal fans will attend the World Cup events next year, and 6 billion more are going to be watching back home, and they think the $6 billion.
So did you catch that? They're using the United States Institute for Peace. And I'm sure you know the whole horror story behind those people barricading themselves in with guns and weapons and the federal police having to take over the building. So he's putting the World Cup main offices right there on the campus.
The number is going to be actually a low number. And this will drive more than $30 billion into the U.S. economy and create 185,000 American jobs in a short period of time. No sporting event attracts more attention, more fans, more viewers, or more revenue than the FIFA World Cup. And again, I'll just say it's the World Cup, and it's the biggest thing there is in sports, and we have it. And I got it in my first administration.
And the Olympics
and I was
are
really
coming.
somewhat devastated, as devastated as I can be. I don't have time to get too devastated. I was very happy that today, as you saw, the group that does this, a government group, radical left group, announced that Trump was right.
Make
Taking
sure
$4 trillion.
is working. We're still getting used to this new Rumble browser-based streaming software. So far, though, pretty darn good.
That was as of 10 minutes ago. I can't tell you what happened. A lot of things happened. But the stock market's up almost 1,000 points. And it's basically on the news that the release that just came out from government that the tariffs that everybody was talking about, that the whole world respects us for because of what we did, the tariffs are going to be...
out in Colorado, the Fed chairman hinted that rates are going to come down.
$4 trillion are going to reduce the deficit by $4 trillion, Mr. Vice President. What do you think? Too bad it's not 5, right? That's right. It's had a huge impact, and the stock market is way up.
Both
But this will
open
drive more
collar.
than $30
I
billion
love
in
the
the
open
U.S. economy and
collar.
create 185,000 American jobs. No sporting event attracts more attention or more fans or anything else. And I just look forward to the draw. So we're going to have the draw, essentially, Johnny, at the Kennedy Center. And by that time, it'll be in even better shape. We're working on it. It's about a year project to make it. It'll be great. It'll be fantastic. You see the way this is looking? Look, nice. I can't tell you how much our gold costs. A lot of money. There's nothing like gold, and there's nothing like solid gold. But
You gotta love gold.
This beautiful office needed it.
You gotta love it.
When we took it over, it was dirty, not clean. I immediately changed the chair and had this beautiful desk renovated, brought out by the White House. People that do this, they did a great job to send it out. We have a craftsman who's great. But this was not appropriate for the Oval Office when I took over. And now you look at all those paintings you're allowed to turn back. All of these are great presidents, and they were all in the vaults. They were in vaults for some cases much more than 100 years. And now
He's
they're
so
proudly hanging
funny.
on the Oval
He is
Office
so
walls. I
freaking
can't imagine
funny.
anybody changing it.
What Trump does, for those of us that watch him all of the time, we hear him with these phrases and these points over and over and over again. But you have to realize he does this so as many people will hear that message as possible. It's kind of like a commercial. You don't buy a commercial on the radio or TV or internet and run it once. You run it multiple times so it will make an impression on people, because someone has to hear something 3 times before it really hits their conscience. So good for him.
But they were buried in vaults for over 100 years, many of them. So it's very exciting. People come in, they really love it. They love what we're doing here. They love what we're doing in D.C., and they love what we're doing, most importantly, in the country and the world. I'd like to ask Johnny to say a few words. He's the head of the whole thing. He's been
Love
for
what he's doing,
a long
too.
time,
We've
probably
seen
the most respected man in
some of
sports.
those
He's
interviews.
amazing, actually.
Pause that for a second. Yeah. On Jesse Waters last night, Johnny was interviewing people on the streets. And you got to remember, majority of people that live in D.C. are black, and he was talking with some people that live in the bad areas, and they're all for it.
It's very hard, and he's got the biggest event in the world coming right here to the United States. And we did a little for Canada, we did a little for Mexico. We thought, see, I'm a good citizen. I said,
We did a little.
So we gave a little to Canada, see how nice I am, and we gave a little bit to Mexico.
See how nice I am. Oh my gosh. He's hilarious. I love when he's doing this shit. I love watching the faces of the people in the room. That's one thing. You always want to focus on Trump, but I love looking at the background, what's happening there, and the people and their reactions.
And Johnny, please say a few words.
Thank you, President. Great
This is the guy that's in charge of the World Cup.
honor for me to be here with you today, President, Vice President, Excellencies. Fantastic to announce what you said, which is the final draw of the FIFA World Cup on the 5th of December here in the capital, in the Kennedy Center in Washington.
Final draw.
DC at 12
That's
noon
gonna
sharp
be
will be
awesome.
broadcast live all over the world. 1 billion viewers will watch it, and will determine, of course, the match schedule, which 48 participating teams will play. You said it, 104 matches in 1 month, 104 Super Bowls. It's not just the biggest, the greatest event, not just a sports event, it's a social event as well.
Yeah, this great little vaporizer battery. See how tiny
America.
it
We're very
is?
proud of that. And those teams,
But
those national
it's
teams
so
who will come here to
fine-tunable.
participate
The battery
in this
lasts
draw with the coaches,
forever.
with the presidents, they will all be proud
It's,
to
by
be part of
Kodo,
writing
called the
this
Kodo
history. And that's why we brought as well
Pro
this, which is
Wolf.
the winner's trophy.
WULF,
It is the trophy that the winner
and
of the FIFA World
Kodo
Cup
is
wins.
KODO.
Only the FIFA president,
Oh,
presidents
wow.
of countries, and then those who win can touch it, because it's for winners only. And since you are a winner, of course, you can as well.
Oh,
touch
my
it.
God.
So you have it. It's the winner trophy. The last
Chad, rewind this, and then we got to clip it. We only give this to the winners, and you're a winner, Mr. President. Oh, the Woody won't stop.
One who lifted that is Lionel Messi of Argentina. And here it is.
And Chad, slow it
this
down.
12 noon sharp will be broadcast live all over the world. 1 billion viewers will watch it. And we'll determine, of course, the match schedule, which 48 participating teams will play. You said it, 104 matches in 1 month, 104 Super Bowls.
All
it's
right,
not
here
just
comes the
biggest, the greatest event, not just a sports event, it's a social event as well with a lot of emotion. We are uniting the world, Mr. President, uniting the world here in America. And we are very proud of that. And those teams, those national teams who will come here to participate in this draw with their coaches, with their presidents, they will all be proud to be part of writing this history. And that's why we brought as well this, which is the Super Bowls. It's not just the biggest, the greatest event, not just a sports event, it's a social event as well with a lot of emotion. We are uniting the world, Mr. President, uniting the world here in America. And we are very proud of that. And those teams, those national teams who will come here to participate in this draw with their coaches, with their presidents, they will all be proud to be part of writing this history. And that's why we brought as well this, which is
this is all happening
the winner's
during
trophy.
our
It is the trophy
50th
that the winner of the FIFA World Cup wins. Only the FIFA presidents of countries, and then those who win can touch it, because it's for winners only. And since you are a winner, of course, you can as well touch it. It's pretty heavy. Yeah. It's the winner trophy. The last one who lifted that is Lionel Messi of Argentina. And here it is in the Oval Office in the White House.
Can I keep it?
What do you?
Well, you can. We're not giving it back. We're not giving it back. That's serious.
It fits well.
It goes very well on the wall right over there. We'll put it right below the angels.
It fits well here, I think.
Beautiful. Yeah,
until we have to give it to the next winner.
That's fine. That's a beautiful piece of gold, I will say. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So 6 billion euros for the World Cup, 6 million coming to the matches, 30 billion economic impact, 185,000 jobs. This will be absolutely fantastic. The biggest event.
I'm keeping it. He's putting his hands out. Give it to me.
In Washington, D.C. at the Kennedy Center, or the Trump Kennedy Center.
They're putting the office at the Kennedy Center.
The 5th of September at noon sharp. 5th of December.
So, again, I apologize. They're putting it at the Kennedy Center complex, not at the Institute for Peace, which Mike Benz, Darren Beatty, go over to Mike's Rumble or YouTube account. He's done a 3-part expose on the Institute for Peace.
Noon sharp. Then, if I may.
Will they be doing most of the draws, all of the draws at the Kennedy? Well, how are you going to do that?
Okay,
we'll do that at the Kennedy Center. We'll do all the other meetings around it with the coaches, with the broadcasters, with the sponsors, everything at the Kennedy Center. The whole World Cup starts, and everyone will be happy because everyone has qualified for the World Cup. And they didn't yet play a game, so they didn't lose yet the game. So they all think they can become world champion, right?
They'll all be happy.
Exactly. Now,
by the way, an example, supposing we had a week.
With Lucid Chart, you can clearly communicate your best and brightest ideas.
Go away.
It supercharges remote.
Brian, do you believe it was getting better or getting worse?
Oh, the crime was getting worse. I mean, I was robbed. It was getting worse. Yeah.
How did the other guy come out?
He came out with our briefcase. Yeah. So, Robert won, Brian 0.
Now, but can you imagine you do this and then you start hearing
the best reporter in the White House.
20-year reduction of crime.
RAV.
It's worse. It was worse during the Biden administration than anybody's ever imagined possible. And I guarantee you, he wouldn't be here if those numbers continued. But now we have total safety. We have total security. And for the border, in 3 months, 0 people. These are done by liberal people that do these charts. 0 people came through our border in the last 90 days. Can you believe it? 0. Last year, we had millions of people coming in. And they came in from
He's going to get that trophy out of the way.
They came in, a lot of people that shouldn't be here. So now when we have this event in December, it's going to be very safe. Johnny, you can walk down the street
about
with your
that trophy.
Wife. You can take her to dinner if you can get a reservation, which I doubt.
They're all full, the restaurants.
I know. They're all full. I heard that too. The restaurants the restaurants, since we are doing this, are doing great. And many new restaurants are going to open because, as you know, many closed. Many restaurants closed because the crime was so bad. This will be one of the safest places anywhere on earth. So, I really am honored that the National Guard has done such an incredible job working with the police. And we haven't had to bring in the regular military, which we're willing to do. We have to.
Oh, my God.
And
Trump's willing to bring in the regular military. You got to love that parade he had. The troops marching down the streets, and then he puts up those 2 giant flags. It's like you're claiming something back.
After we do this, we'll go to another location, and we'll make it safe also. We're going to make our country very safe. We're going to make our cities very, very safe. Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent. And we'll straighten that one out probably next. That'll be our next one after this. And it won't even be tough. And the people in Chicago, Mr. Vice President,
no problem.
are screaming for us to come. They're wearing red hats, just like this one, but they're wearing red hats. African-American ladies, beautiful ladies, are saying, please, President Trump, come to Chicago. Please. I did great with the black vote, as you know, and they want something to happen. So I think Chicago will be our next, and then we'll help with New York, and we're going to help with. And I think a lot of these people that you see on television, they're including the people in this audience. They'll say bad things about me, and then they'll say, "Thank God he's here," because half of them got mugged, and they don't want to get mugged again. But they work for they work for stupid people that are radical left, and they're made to do things and say things that they don't want to be saying. But the people right here are all happy because you're not going to be mugged in Washington,
The
D.C.
stupid
anymore.
people.
I just want to say Johnny's been my friend for a long time. He's an incredible guy, and we will lay out the red carpet. Andrew, you're going to be fantastic. Rick is going to be everything Rick ever touched has always worked out, and he's working with me on the Kennedy Center. And his very good friend was an actor on Broadway for 5 years, right? And I assume he's helping us a little bit, right?
Yes.
And Andrew, you're all excited about it?
Absolutely.
Would you like to say something?
This is a great opportunity, Mr. President.
If you don't know what that is, Andrew, he is Rudy Giuliani's son, and he actually ran for governor of New York, too.
President, to show off the first 250 years of the United States of America, the greatness, and then the hope and promise of the next 250 years. When you think this World Cup is going to be over our 250th birthday, Mr. President, your leadership, obviously, with FIFA leading the way, this is the largest sporting event in the history of the world under the Trump administration. So very exciting.
I just want to say one thing. Andrew Giuliani, so his father is Rudy, the greatest mayor in the history of New York, I think by far. He took a ravaged city.
And you know, Rudy with a vengeance the past 4 years has been working on the RICO conspiracy stuff that Cash and Dan and everybody and Pam are going after.
It was really under siege. Probably most people thought it was going to survive. He turned it around. He was a great, great mayor. And then they treated him very, very unfairly. You go back and tell your father all of the things that have come out over the last couple of months through Tulsi and through all of the people, Cash, everybody. They've proven your father 100% correct. His father was treated so unfairly. Your father has been 100% correct. And tell him we all love him, okay?
Thank you, Mr. President.
He's an amazing. What he had to go through was very, very unfair. Nasty. These are bad people. Mr. Vice President, would you like to say something?
Well, sure, Mr. President. Thank you. And thanks to Johnny for being here. We're very thrilled about the World Cup. Just to echo something the president said about crime in Washington, D.C., this is the national capital of the greatest nation in the world. And we had murder rates just a few weeks ago that rivaled some of the worst third world cities anywhere, even in very, very poor regions of the world. Why did we accept that? Why did we allow it to happen? We allowed it to happen because we had broken leadership in Washington, D.C., and unfortunately sitting behind the Resolute desk. What we have shown
Dozens of years.
in just under 2 weeks of taking law enforcement seriously is that the American people can have their streets back if their leadership is willing to put in the time and the resources. Mr. President.
Speaking of National Guard, do you know that Kathy Holcomb, when she ordered the National Guard to the train stations after people were being thrown on the tracks, you didn't hear people bitching about the National Guard being deployed there, and they're still there, by the way.
You've shown in Washington, D.C. that we can have safe streets again. We've just got to have the political willpower to focus on the bad guys and to give the American people back their communities. We are focused on doing that thanks to the president's leadership.
Thank you. And that's a really very small percentage. It's 2%, 3%, but that 2% and 3% wreaks just havoc throughout a community. People are petrified. And I notice a couple of the women in the back are shaking their head, yes, yes, yes. I won't report who you are because you'll end up losing your jobs. But it's true. It's amazing. And the police, and you look at the D.C. National Guard, I saw pictures of them last night getting off vans and all, and I saw some bad ones running, but they're not running so much anymore. They're not there. They're just not even trying. You're totally safe. Now, there'll be something happening sometime. I don't know. Maybe it won't be for a long time. But this was every night would get reports of people being mugged and get that. There's one woman on television last night. She had a badly busted up nose. And she said, well, I like our streets the way they used to be. And she thinks it's going to happen like they're doing nothing. And they say, what happened to your nose? She got slugged by a guy walking down the street, slugged. Her nose will never be the same, I guarantee you, unless it takes a pretty good turn. She wasn't really for us. She sort of said, well, maybe something has to happen before this happened to me. She got whacked.
That was Johnny's cut on Fox
last
night I was talking about earlier.
She almost became, she was a half a Trump fan, a woman that would have never been a Trump fan, but she was hit hard. It's not going to happen anymore. Not going to happen anymore. But then we're going to beautify the city, too. That's where I was today at Kennedy Center. We're going to beautify the city like it has it. And we're working with Clark Construction, the biggest construction company in Chicago. and in Chicago, and
You're only
Washington.
going
And
175.
Henry Clark is great. He's all over the
Come
world,
on,
actually.
challenge
Washington, I would say, is their home. That's where they do the best work,
challenge the
the biggest work.
cult member
And they're doing
listen.
they've been doing a fantastic job.
Here we
So
go.
you're going to have a fantastic, clean, beautiful place. It's going to be better than it ever was before. Literally better than it ever was before. We'll get it done very quickly. And I want to thank Clark because they're doing a lot of work in a lot of different locations, but they've been fantastic for getting us the right contractors and the people that can really do the job right. And Johnny, did you want to say something?
Yes, one more thing, because as you rightly say, with security and beautifying cities and the whole country,
Well,
we want
let's slow
people
it
to
down.
come and enjoy and have fun. And that's why it's not just the most iconic trophy in the world sport, but we start on the 10th of September, the sale of tickets for the FIFA World Cup. And we have the first ticket here for the final. For you.
Oh, gotcha. Big ticket.
It's, of course, row 1, seat 1. It's ticket number 4547. And it's the final in New York, New Jersey.
That's great.
And so you have your
FIFA World Cup, New York, New Jersey final match, July 19th, 2020. President Donald Trump. Seat 1, row 47, I think.
ticket already for the final. All the
Ticket number 4547. That's funny.
others, 10th of September, start getting your tickets.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
6.5, 7 million tickets. Fans
Row
will
one,
enjoy
seat
with the
one.
security here. Will be fantastic.
Ticket
You're going to do
number
record business, I think.
100%.
Chrissy, would you like to say something?
Yeah, Mr. President, millions of people will come to this country, and we'll make sure they get their travel documents, their visas, that they want to come here and spend their money and enjoy the sporting event. It'll be the largest event in the world. And sir, you're reminding me of something that my dad used to say all the time when I was growing up. He would say, Christy, you kids need to look like you respect yourself before anybody's going to respect you. And in this country, when people look at our streets, when they look at our capital, you're bringing respect back to the city. And people will respect our country more because it's safe, it's clean, it's beautiful. And what you're doing is transforming this nation by making sure that our laws are upheld. And millions of people are going to come and be able to enjoy it next year. And I'm excited about that. Thank you for doing that.
Well, our country is respected again. And a year ago, we had a dead country. I'm telling you, it was a dead country. It was a country that had lost its way. It was a country that was going to fail. Look, even today, where they say $4 trillion in reductions of deficits. And this was totally unexpected. They didn't expect it. I mean, I don't know where they've been, the people that do this stuff, but it's terrible. I want to thank Chrissy for another reason. I said to her 2 weeks ago, I said, Chrissy, do me a favor. I built hundreds of miles of wall. I built the same wall that the Border Patrol asked me to build. It wasn't my first choice. I wanted to do concrete plank and everything nice. You would have been able to see through it. So I had Border Patrol in, and they tested.
Hey, just wanted to tell you real quick. Appreciate you checking in. If you're new, this week we're mobile this week down in Columbus, Ohio, and testing out Rumble's new updated browser streaming interface, and it's actually pretty darn good. The noise cancellation on it is awesome, and so that's what we're doing. I kind of just sit here and go through what I'm watching every day and stream it live. That's what the wife said. If you're going to waste all that time, at least waste time with other people. At Hunt for the Truth, it's always the number 4. It's all one word. I like to put truth in all capitals, though. That's on all social media, Truth, Getter, X, and exclusive video here on Rumble. And I don't think the pay feature, the donate feature, whatever works, and don't even bother of that. There's, let's see what we got. 3 of you watching. So the way you can help me is just is share this out, and also like it, subscribe. That's up to you. You'll figure out where to find me.
And everything else. And we gave them steel wall, high grade steel, very hard to cut. And we gave inside that is 9,000 pound concrete, which is a very tough concrete. Inside that is rebar, a big fat piece of rebar.
Oh, I did some research on painting that thing black. It'll raise the temperatures to 200 degrees. People are online are like, well, somebody could wear welder's gloves. Yeah, they could do that, but they're still not getting over dumb shits.
So you have all different materials that are very hard to cut, and you need different instruments to cut each one. And I said, Chrissy, we got to get a coat of paint on it. And I didn't know she was listening, but I said, we got to get a coat of paint, and it should be black, because black makes the steel very hot. It's untouchable. You could fry an egg on it. And if you got a good black flat paint, it would look beautiful. It will preserve it from rust. And that was it. And I gave it to her along with 30 other things. And she's done such a good job on the border with Tom Holman and the group. Tom Holman's a fantastic guy, what the job he does and the way they work together. So I turned on last night and I see Christy's painting the wall. And it looked beautiful, by the way, when that paint went over there.
It's hot.
It's hot.
Yes, it is.
It's hot. If it's white, it's not hot. If it's black, it's going to be very hard to climb that sucker. It's not going to be easy. But it's black. And a high quality black, you know, it really looked good.
Yeah, we got
Is that going to be a 2-coat job or one coat?
No, just one coat.
One coat.
We used the paint you told me to buy.
Yep. The 2-coat will take place in 3 years from now. We'll do the second coat. But it looks beautiful. But thank you very much.
Not sure if you saw the news, but Fox News is claiming President Trump is declining in the polls. And President Trump responded, says Fox News polls can't be trusted. So now, Newsmax is conducting.
Would you like to say something? You've been such a big part of this, please.
Well, Mr. President, we're delighted to be here today for this announcement, but we're also looking forward to having the final.
Oh, yes.
On July 19th in New York, New Jersey.
We're going to be there. A lot of people are going to be there.
A lot of people.
I'd like to thank you all. Do you have any questions on FIFA, first of all?
It's going to be a big event at the Kennedy Center. Do you intend to take part in it? Will you have a part to play on the soccer pitch?
I might play.
Here comes question. It's question
I see the money that
time.
these soccer players, we call it soccer, but I see the money that these soccer players are making. I may try and play. I'm a very good athlete. My son is a very good athlete.
Try soccer.
And he's a good soccer player. He's on the tall side for soccer. He's 6'9". That's pretty tall. That's pretty tall. It's on the tall side. It's on the tall side, but he's good. But I may put on shorts. I'm extremely good in shorts. And join the play.
No.
No, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be
Many partners who want
Mr. President, please. Please, I know you're winning, but that won't help.
to come to attend the event are concerned about the visa situation. Can you reassure them?
Yeah, they're going to have a very easy time getting in. Certain countries are going to be very, very easy, and other countries are going to be obviously a little bit more difficult. Would you like to explain that, Christine?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a process set up that we'll be implementing on getting visas approved. Everybody will be thoroughly vetted. They'll be welcome to this country. It'll happen quickly, and we're excited for them to come. So I would hope that around the world, people know that the United States is excited to bring their family here to enjoy this event.
America welcomes the world.
Yes.
And I can relay from the collaboration that we have testifying for that. Absolutely.
And I just sent a picture from somebody that wants to be there very badly. He's been very respectful of me and of our country, but not so respectful of others. But I'm going to sign this for him. But I was sent one, and I thought you'd all like to see it. That's a man named Vladimir Putin.
Oh, my God.
He will be coming, depending on what happens. He may be coming, and he may not, depending on what happens. We have a lot of things happening over the next couple of weeks. So,
I'm signing this picture for Putin. If the mainstream media actually watched all the things that, these reporters and pundits, they don't watch this shit like you and I do.
I thought it was a nice picture of him. Okay of me, but nice of him.
He's so deferential. It's like fucking hilarious.
So that was very nice that it was sent to me. Okay. Yes.
Putin sent it to him for him to
Yesterday,
sign.
a big U.S. factory was hit in a Russian airstrike in Ukraine. What's your reaction to
I
that?
told him I'm not happy about it. And I'm not happy about anything having to do with that war. I settled 7 wars, and actually, if you think about 3 wars, add 3 more, so it would be 10. I thought this would be in the middle of the pack in terms of difficulty. I'm not happy about anything about that war. Nothing. Not happy at all. We'll see what happens. I think over the next 2 weeks, we're going to find out which way it's going to go. And I better be very happy.
Mr. President, I just had a very good call with Prime Minister Carney of Canada yesterday morning.
Yes.
Actually, Canada is taking away some retaliatory tariffs.
He's removing his tariffs. Yeah.
Exactly.
Have you noticed the press now, since they realize about everyone's going to be able to answer a question, they wait their turn. They're less antagonistic of them. They're lighthearted. Carolyn Levitt has just trained the media.
He's removing his retaliatory tariffs, which I thought was nice. And we're going to have another call soon. Yeah, we had a very good call.
We're getting closer towards
I like them. I like them. Look, I'm fighting for the United States. Canada and Mexico take a lot of our business over the years, over 25, 30 years.
All right, kiddos
especially
are
during the
coming
Biden
back from
years. They took a lot of
school,
our
my
business.
grandkids.
It's basically all coming back into the United States.
Turn the mic off. If I forget to turn it back on, yell at me.
Tariffs and the incentives we give, it's coming back. And it's impossible, I think, for another country to stop it. And we are working on something. We want to be very good to Canada. I like Carney a lot. I think he's a good person. And we had a very good talk yesterday, so I think it'll be good.
Mr. President, I have a question about the search of Ambassador Bolton's home. The Vice President recently just did an interview saying that it's about classified documents, but that there's also broad concern about him. What are the concerns?
Well, I haven't spoken to Pam in the group yet, but I will be. I saw that just like everybody else. I try and stay out of that stuff. I'm allowed to be, and I'm chief law enforcement officer, believe it or not. I don't like to go around saying that, but I am. That's the position. But I purposely don't want to really get involved in it. I'm not a fan of John Bolton. I thought he was a sleazebag, actually. And he's suffers major Trump derangement syndrome, but so do a lot of people, and they're not being affected by anything we do. I don't know anything about it. I just saw that. I'll find out about it. But if you believe the news, which I do, I guess his house was raided today, but my house was raided also, Paul Mar-a-Lago. They went through everything they could, including my young son's room and my wife's area. They went through her drawers, as the expression goes. They went through everything you can imagine. And when she came back, she said, she's very neat, she's meticulous. And she looked and she said, whoa, this wasn't the way that she had it. So, so I know the feeling. It's not a good feeling. Thank you. By anything we do. I don't know anything about it. I just saw that. I'll find out about it, believe it or not. I don't like to go around saying that, but I am. That's the position. But I purposely don't want to really get involved in it. I'm not a fan of it.
Mr. President, I have a question about
Here we go. Here's the tune right here. You going to find a spider?
I almost found a jumping spider.
Oh. My grandson doesn't like insects. All right. Chad, this is the one we're going to clip. Hang on, folks. We got to bring up our screen grabber here. Let me know when it's ready, and then I'll roll this. Ready? Okay. Oh. There we go. Okay, we're rolling on that. Here we go.
Search of Ambassador Bolton's home. The vice president recently just did an interview saying that it's about classified documents, but that there's also broad concern about it. What are the concerns?
Well, I haven't spoken to Pam in the group yet, but I will be. I saw that just like everybody else. I try and stay out of that stuff. I'm allowed to be, and I'm chief law enforcement officer, believe it or not. I don't like.
See, that's the same time he's used that phrase earlier today and yesterday. I'm the chief law enforcement officer. I'm the chief law enforcement officer. I'm the chief law enforcement officer. Those are the phrases that he'll repeat over and over again just to get them out to more people.
I go around saying that, but I am. That's the position. But I purposely don't want to really get involved in it. I'm not a fan of John Bolton. I thought he was a sleazebag, actually. And he suffers major Trump derangement syndrome. But so do I.
He's a sleazeball.
A lot of people, and they're not being affected by anything we do. I don't know anything about it. I just saw that. I'll find out about it.
Video during the
but
clip.
If you believe the news, which I do, I guess his house was raided today. But my house was raided also. Mar-a-Lago. They went through everything they could, including my young son's room and my wife's area. They went through her drawers, as the expression goes.
Oh my God!
They went through everything you can imagine. And when she came back, she looked. She said, "She's very neat. She's meticulous." And she looked and she said, "Whoa, this wasn't the way that she had it." So so I know the feeling. It's not a good feeling. Thank you,
Mr. President. How long will you give Putin?
A couple of weeks. We're going to figure it out.
Do you think you'll have to intervene at some point?
Look, it takes two to tango. You understand that. I wanted to have a meeting with those two. I could have been at the meeting, but a lot of people think that nothing's going to come out of that meeting. You have to be there. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. But we're going to see. In the meantime, people continue to die. But I solved 7 of them where they were in wars for 31, 35, and 37 years. We had 3 of them that were for more than 30 years, Johnny, and I got them solved. And we solved one that could have been a nuclear war with India and Pakistan. That was getting ready to be a nuclear war. I solved them all. And this one, I thought we would have had it done by now, but it's more. There's a lot of anger, a lot of hatred. There's a tremendous amount of hatred there. So, but we'll see what happens. I think in 2 weeks we'll know which way I'm going.
1.5.
Because I'm going to go one way or the other, and they'll learn which way I'm going.
If I got 2 questions for you. One
Here's
on
Brian.
one on DC. Let's talk. You talk about the economic impact that people will have in these cities, and what's your message to the mayors to get their cities prepared, not only the beautification process, but also the safety aspect?
Well, Los Angeles is an example. It's poorly run. We have a mayor there that can't even get permits.
He's going to go to Los Angeles.
Lee Zeldin got
They're
every permit. The hardest
practicing
permit is the federal permit.
I keep telling people what they're doing in D.C. is just practice. Just practice. They're going to have these in the major metropolitan areas because they have to be deployed, ready to go, know the terrain, have situational awareness. Because when they start arresting people, especially the big names, they've got to be ready to just crack down on the riots.
Within 20 days, every single permit.
What do you think? Do you think that's the game plan in the back? He mentioned during this press conference that he might call the Army in, the official the U.S. military. He's ready to go. Do you think they're going to do that? Get them in every major city to stop any problems when they start arresting people? I say yes. I say yes. Don't you say yes? Say yes.
Was there for the people to build the houses. Oh, people are writing us and they're saying they won't give us. The mayor is incompetent. The governor is incompetent. I know Gavin very well. He's an incompetent.
All right, stop.
And he doesn't get the job done.
Chad.
And frankly, those people want to build the houses. It's terrible. They could have been built. Some of them could have been built already. But think of it. The federal government that has the most complex part. It's the most complex environmental thing to do. We got it. Everybody had it within 30 days. And they're not even close to getting the permits. And now they're talking about taking some of those sites and building low-income housing on them. These are high-end neighborhoods. And I'm all for low-income housing. I built a lot of low-income housing. I know all about 236. I know every program that there is in the government. I use every one of them. I know more about low-income housing than probably.
That's another line he's used over and over again. I know how this works.
Pacific Palisades. You don't build it there, and you don't build it in the other areas that burned down. So they're talking about putting up low-income housing. And you talk about riots. They're going to have riots if that happens because you're taking the people's property away. They want to build their houses, and they're unable to get permits from the mayor and from the governor. And that's a terrible thing. But and let me tell you, if I didn't send in the troops in Los Angeles, Johnny wouldn't be in Los Angeles. He wouldn't be having your World Cup there. I sent in the troops, and we kept it. And even the police commissioner, the sheriff, and the police commissioner, they all said the same thing. They said, we could have never handled what was happening. You saw that. You were there. He said, we could have never handled what was happening. And then you hear Gavin Newsom, after it's all quelled, Newsom got up and said, we could have done this by ourselves. No, they couldn't have. And if they could have, I wouldn't have taken the chance either.
Okay, my second question is on crime prevention. Would you be open to expanding the national concealed carry to apply to D.C. like it does in other states like Texas?
Yeah. Well, they have it in some states, and they feel strongly about it. As you know, I'm in favor of it. People have to protect themselves. I'm a Second Amendment person, very simply. People have to be able to protect themselves. Especially like in Washington, you walk down the street, a guy comes up and slugs you. He's got a pistol in his hand. You could be tough. You could be in great shape. You could be a powerful person. Or you could be a guy that weighs 100 pounds with a gun in your hand. And I'll bet on the guy with a gun 100% of the time, right? And so you need protection. So I'm a Second Amendment person all the way up.
President Trump said it's only going to do when Congress gets $2 billion to help clean up DC. Have you had any conversations with Mike Johnson and John Thune about where they're going to get that money from?
Which money?
You said it's only going to get $2 billion in Congress to help clean up DC.
Yeah, I've spoken to Mike Johnson. I've spoken to John Thune, the Senate, the House. And I think it's going to be very easy to get. It's going to be not a lot of money. I wouldn't even know where to spend the number that you mentioned, but it's going to be money to beautify the city. Yeah? They're ready. Everybody wants to save DC. In one way, it's the easiest. The violence was more than any other city in the country, actually, by far. It may have been more than any other city in the world. If you could think, we looked at some of the worst cities in the world, it was worse. And that's why it angers me.
Again, show people the stats from Grok, Chad. Bring that up. Hang on one second, folks. You got to see the stats because he was saying no murders in a week, and I was like, well, I don't know. So we asked Grok. We said, where's the rest of it? On average, the past 3 years, how many murders are in Washington, D.C. on average during a single week? They calculated the number using official resources from 2022 to 2024. And they had 203, 274, 187, 664 homicides. That equals 4.26 homicides per week. And then I said, can you determine there was a week with 0 murders? Because I don't want the president to be called out. This is not the only. So here's the funny part. With the available data, I can. Oh, I'm not sharing the tab. Oh, I would. If I'm not sharing the tab, is there no audio? Anyways, we asked Rock because once again he's been saying no murders in a week, no murder, and I said the press is going to fact check that, so we did so on Grok. It analyzed all the available government information. There was 4.3 murders per week, but I asked it to, can you see if there were 0 weeks or how many weeks had 0 murders? There were 2, at least 2 weeks with 0 murders, and they were in March 2025 for 16 days, and just last week, 14th through the 21st. So besides the 6 months Trump's been in office, there were 0 weeks with murder. Just pointing that out to you. Give it to your friends. Oh, that's the wrong window. Let's get that one closed. Where is it? That's not it either. Chad. That's not it either. Come on, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Here we are. All right, roll it. Oh, I lost the screen.
If I have a national emergency, I can keep the troops there as long as I want. If people are not going to want to have the troops in 30 days, it's one thing to get them out. It's another thing to keep them out for a long period of time.
All right, rewind that because I don't think
this.
people heard it.
Yeah, we have no problem getting that money. That money will come out of Congress. I think it'll be even bipartisan. I mean, I would imagine Democrats would vote for that one.
Is it planned to get it before the September 30 deadline?
Well, I don't know if there is a deadline because if I declare a national emergency, which this was, that ends the deadline. So, I mean, I keep saying about a 30-day deadline, of which we have 22 days left or something. But if I think we're in great shape here, that's one thing. But if I don't, I'm going to just say it's a national emergency. And if I have a national emergency, I can keep the troops there as long as I want.
he's telling people what's going to happen.
If people are not going to want to have the troops in 30 days, it's one thing to get them out. It's another thing to keep them out for a long period of time. You've got to train people. You can't do this. You can't bop people over the head. And a lot of those people are in courts right now, going to court. They're going to go to jail for a long time. So that's going to take more than 30 days. But if I have to, I'll declare a national emergency, which I don't think I'll have to do. Yeah.
Mr. President, can I ask you a question? You said in 2 weeks you'll know whether you go.
Yeah, I think I'll know the attitude of Russia, and frankly.
Oh, come on. All right, there we go.
And it's going to be a very important decision, and that's whether or not it's massive sanctions or massive tariffs or both, or do we do nothing and say it's your fight? Look, I would have never been in this war if I were president. You wouldn't have had this war. It was never going to happen. This was caused by stupid people that fought. And people say, well, how do we know? Because for 4 years it was never even a subject. And Vladimir knew. And you see his picture right here. It was nice that he sent, but Vladimir knew very strongly. We wouldn't have stood for it. It wouldn't have happened. 100% wouldn't have happened, but it did happen. And now they're losing from 5 to 7 young kids. Think of it, you're a parent and your son is leaving. He's Russian or he's Ukrainian. And he's leaving and they're waving goodbye. Nice, beautiful kid. Nice crew cut, all set, he wants to be a soldier. And goes there first week, he has his head blown off. And he's no different than you people, me. And it doesn't matter where. I mean, I solved a problem in the Congo that was vicious. Rwanda and the Congo, the Republic of the Congo. And they were fighting for 31 years, and it was machetes. People were getting their heads chopped off. That was going on for 31 years. I got it solved. You saw it. They came to the White House and we signed an agreement. It was amazing. People can't believe we got it done. I love to stop killing. I really do. People thought it would be just the opposite. Hillary Clinton said, "Oh, he'll get us into a war." No, I'm getting everybody else out of wars.
Are you saying there's a possibility then that you do nothing if Putin doesn't come to the table for ceasefire?
I'll see whose fault it is. If there are reasons why, I understand that. I know exactly what I'm doing. We're going to see whether or not they have a meeting. That'll be interesting to see. And if they don't, why didn't they have a meeting? Because I told them to have a meeting. But I'll know in 2 weeks what I'm going to do. I'm pretty good
Your
idea.
Justice Department is also sending some of the Epstein files over to the House Oversight Committee today. Are you in support of them releasing all of them? If they want to
people shouldn't be hurt, but I'm in support of keeping it totally open. I couldn't care less. You got a lot of people that it could be mentioned in those files that don't deserve to be. People, because he knew everybody in Palm Beach. I don't know anything about that, but I have said to Pam and everybody else, give them everything you can give them because it's a Democrat hoax. That's just a hoax. The whole Epstein thing is a Democrat hoax. So we had the greatest 6 months, 7 months in the history of the presidency.
We've been talking a lot on the stream this week or for the last month, the Epstein thing is being played brilliantly. You have to remember, Trump's a showman. He knows how to manipulate information. He has tricked the Democrats and for screaming for the Epstein documents to be released, for these names to be released, because Trump might be mentioned in them. So it's all primed, ready to go. They'll release the Epstein documents. The media is going to go, oh, crap, Bill Clinton's in here. So-and-so's in here. Bill Gates is in here. Richard Branson's in here.
And the Democrats don't know what to do, so they keep bringing up that stuff. But it affected them. Bill Clinton was on his plane and went to the island supposedly 28 times.
Oh, there we go.
Bring that up, frankly. You have Larry, whatever his name is, Summers, the head of Harvard, who was Jeffrey Epstein's best friend. Nobody ever talks about that. I mean, but I don't want to hurt Larry Summers, but he was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. No, this is a Democratic hoax to try and get the
and they fell
significance of what
into
we've
it.
done over the past 7 months. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. They say it's #1 in history. What we've done, including stopping 7 wars. I mean, just include that. And now you look at the stock market today. It's way up to start off with from where I took it. And this market was going to crash. If Joe Biden or Kamala were president, this market we would have had a crash like in 1929. You're not going to have that. It's only a question of how high is it going to go. You know, I had the strongest economy in the history of our country. And despite COVID, we had the strongest economy in the history of our country. And we're going to blow it away this time. I was always good at making a lot of money. And whether it was for myself or whether it was, I like doing it this way better. I mean, I like making it for the country. Our country's been ripped off by friend and foe. Nations all over the world ripped off. And the friends have been much worse than the foes for the most part. And they're not ripping us off. We just signed a deal with the European Union
Rewind that a bit, Chad.
essentially of our country. And despite COVID, we had the strongest economy in the history of our country. And we're going to blow it away this time. I was always good at making a lot of money. And whether it was for myself or whether it was, I like doing it this way better. I mean, I like making it for the country. Our country's been ripped off by friend and foe. Nations all over the world ripped off. And the friends have been much worse than the foes for the most part. And they're not ripping us off. We just signed a deal with the European Union. They're paying us essentially $950 billion, like a signing fee. They're going to buy $750 billion worth of energy. They weren't buying much of our energy there. And they're very smart in doing it. And as you know, Ursula was here a couple of days ago having to do with the people, the leaders that we had a great, people said they've never seen anything like it. Well, we had the leaders of Europe right here in the Oval Office. And she's so happy that she has an agreement. But people aren't ripping us anymore. We're run by, this country is run by smart people now.
So President, hidden trail. Two questions. One is about Intel. There's been reports that you're considering Intel.
About the 10%?
About the 10%.
Yeah, I met a man who was a very nice man, and I called for his removal because I saw something by a man named Tom Cotton, a senator from Arkansas, a great guy, friend of mine, supporter of mine, I'm a supporter of this too. And he wrote a pretty nasty story about the head of Intel. And I said, well, that's right, he should resign. And he came in, he saw me, we talked for a while. I liked him a lot. I thought he was very good. I thought he was somewhat a victim, but nobody's a total victim, I guess. And I said, you know what? I think the United States should be given 10% of Intel. And he said, I would consider that. I said, well, I'd like you to do that because Intel's been left behind, as you know, compared to Jensen and some of our friends, NVIDIA, some of the people and because Intel should have never been. Intel was the biggest, most powerful chip company in the world. And then they started leaving. And they started going to foreign countries, in particular Taiwan. And if we had a president who would have said, okay, you can go to Taiwan, but we're going to put a 100% tariff or 200 or 300 or 500% tariff. Anybody that sells into the United States.
Market is up 6,395.
Now, with that, they've had some bad management over the years, and they got lost. And I said, I think you should pay us 10% of your company. And they said, yes, that's about $10 billion. I don't get it. This comes to the United States of America. And I said, I think it would be good having the United States as your partner. He agreed, and they've agreed to do it. And I think it's a great deal for them. And I think it's a great deal. He walked in wanting to keep his job, and he ended up giving us $10 billion for the United States. So we picked up $10 billion. And we do a lot of deals like that. I'll do more of them. If somebody has, like we have restrictive covenants with Jensen. It's NVIDIA. And to unrestrict the covenant. Nothing to do with losing our powers or military or anything, because that I wouldn't do. But there are things you can do that don't affect us, that actually help us. And if we're going to give somebody a restricted covenant, we have a strong restrictive covenant on certain industries. And I will absolutely give somebody a opening on a restricted, do a lot of business, which is good for us, as long as it doesn't hurt us in a security or military way. And if I do that, I think the country should be paid, because anybody else, I have it in real estate where I'll have a deal with somebody and I'll have them restrictive covenant. Then they'll come back and they'll say, I'd love to be able to build over here, but I'm not allowed to because you have me covered, you have me restricted. I say, I'll let you build over there, but pay me a lot of money. No different. But the country never did it because the country was run by foolish people.
You said Chicago might be next. Are you meeting, have there been concrete steps that the administration is taking to do that, or what other cities?
I haven't spoken to them. He's grossly incompetent. I haven't spoken to them. No.
Anybody know who that reporter is? First, I thought it was the psycho from CNN. She has the same hair, but she's asked probably 3 or 4 rounds of questions.
When we're ready, we'll go ahead and we'll straighten out Chicago, just like we did D.C. Chicago's very dangerous. Great place. I built great stuff there. I have the most beautiful building in Chicago.
Wait, did he say they're going to Chicago?
But I hate to see what's happened to Chicago. Chicago was our greatest city, actually.
Are you meeting, have there been concrete steps that the administration is taking to do that, or what other cities?
I haven't spoken to them. He's grossly.
Oh, hey, Chad, we got to clip that. Bring the speed down to 125 and get the clip ready to go. Hang on a second, folks. Okay. Is it ready? Three, two, one.
Chicago might be next.
Chicago.
Are you making? Have there been concrete steps that the administration is taking to do that, or what are other cities?
I haven't spoken to them. He's grossly incompetent. I haven't spoken to them. No, when we're ready, we'll go in and we'll straighten out Chicago, just like we did D.C. Chicago.
When we're ready, we're going to go straighten them out. Love it.
It's very dangerous. Great place. I built great stuff there. I have the most beautiful building in Chicago, I think. But I hate to see what's happened to Chicago. Chicago was our greatest city, actually. Bob Tisch, a great friend of mine, passed away. He used to own the Giants and very successful Lowe's. He said Chicago. I think they had their main office in Chicago. He said Chicago and San Francisco, the two greatest cities in the world. Now you look at what the Democrats have done to San Francisco. They've destroyed it. I own a big chunk of.
It was kind of quiet on riots in San Francisco. I know there was some going on, but that was interesting at the time.
The Bank of America building in San Francisco. And, it's just different. We can clean that up, too. We'll clean that one up, too.
We will clean that one up, too. They're going to get the guard and security installed before they start arresting people. Trust me.
If everything works out, and we've already had calls from other cities, quiet calls from Democrats. We'd love you to come here.
You hear that? Democrat mayors are calling him and say, come to our city. This is going to be amazing, people. Just like he shut the border down to zero crossings, he's going to cut crime like an MFer.
Because they've lost control of their cities. I'm not going to say because I don't want them to lose their elections. But we've had calls from Democrats.
What Democrats called you, I'm not going to say. I don't want them to lose their elections. They're going to go, what a nice guy. He kept my name out of it.
And calls from people generally. We'd love you to come here because we'll straighten out the problem.
In Israel, the families of hostages are opposed to the reoccupying of Gaza. Why is the U.S. still?
Well, not all of them. And you have to understand, I'm the one that got all of the hostages out. You got a lot of people out. If it wasn't for me, they wouldn't be out. I worked with Bibi and I worked with Steve Witkoff. But if it wasn't for me, you would have all these hostages would most likely be dead right now, every one of them. So they all come up here. They come in groups of 10, 12, 13. And many of them, and I've gotten to know a lot of them, the great people, what they had to go through is incredible. But so now they have 20, but the 20 is actually probably not 20 because a couple maybe aren't around any longer. It's a terrible thing. No, I don't like anymore. I said, when you get down to 20, they're not going to make deals anymore. And they didn't. And then I put out a statement, as you know.
All right,
it was
stop
a
the
tough
clip
statement.
now and bring it back up to 210.
And they said, we'll give you 10, we'll give you 10. I don't know what Israel's doing, but they were willing now immediately to give us another 10. The situation has to end. It's extortion and it has to end. And we'll see what happens. I actually think they're safer in many ways if you went in and you really went in fast and you did it. And people can't forget October 7th. Remember that. I'm friendly with all groups. I won the Arab vote in Michigan. I did so great with the Arab vote. Remember, I started off at 0. I ended up winning. I wouldn't say the candidate was the greatest, but I would have won against anybody. They're great people. But we have to do things properly. And very proud to say I got the hostages out. You have hundreds of people that are living now because of me. And now we have that final little group of people. And Hamas knows that if they give them, it's probably the end of their lives. So it's not easy to get. And I know if you're a parent, you just don't care. You want my baby back. They want their babies back. They want their kids back. And I understand. But I got them out. And
Monday.com is the best AI for work. And here's why. Let me show you some of the mind-blowing things thousands of companies are.
The Jacksonville J. Powell today said he suggested that they might cut interest rates.
Well, we come too late for a reason. We should have cut him a year ago. He's too late. We have a stock market that's up 1,000 points today. I better be careful because I go out there and see it's down 1,000, right? But it's up 1,000 points when I came in here. We have a country that the market's the hottest it's ever been. The country's better than it's ever been. We have a military that I rebuilt largely in my first term. We had a great, successful first term, but this is going to be even better. But we rebuilt it. We gave a lot of it away to Afghanistan, but relatively small compared to the overall. But I think it was the most embarrassing day and period in the history of our country that they allowed those 13 wonderful people, but it's really hundreds of people were killed. And they don't talk about the 48 that were so severely wounded with no legs, no arms, nobody ever mentions them except me. But that was the worst day, it just showed how incompetent. Frankly, if that didn't happen, I really believe that you might not have had the problem with Russia. I think Putin was sitting there watching these stupid people running our country and said, this is the time to invade. This is the time. And then Biden made the statement, well, he can do a small incursion. When he said that,
he did.
it was all three races, right?
You remember that? Biden said he could do a small incursion. Small incursion.
He could do a small incursion. Remember that? I was surprised he knew the word incursion. I want to thank everybody. It's very important to me and to everybody up here at the World Cup. And Johnny has been so incredible. I mean, he's really a great leader. I mean, to think, I said, Johnny, do it by phone. You don't have to come. No, he said, I'll come. And he flew all night long to be here and listen to this about how great we're doing in D.C. But he's a fantastic leader. And this will be your most successful World Cup ever. Thank you, sir. I don't know. I watch some of those teams go. They put down that field. I don't know. But let me ask you, what chance is America of winning?
Well, the whole team always has a good chance to win. It
See,
depends
it's
on
a good
cards. Yeah, of course. Who's a good chance?
Will Barry go to the games, Mr. President?
I'd love to have him. He'd love to. He's very tall. Maybe we can make him a goalie. The goalies are very tall now, right? The goalies, well, he'd be a perfect goalie. And inside he'll be a great goalie. So we'll put him with the Americans. No, but do the Americans have a chance of getting into the quarterfinals?
Yes, definitely. Not the quarterfinal, definitely. But then, as the tournament goes on, with probably 250 years of the United States, let's not forget, they will all feel energized about that.
It's amazing.
They're going to be energized.
I went to the game.
The anniversary of the United States.
You look at these people, the way they pass it. It's amazing. Really amazing. It's a great art, right? It's a great talent. You know the expression?
You gotta love Trump. He just keeps talking and talking and talking. And one day he'll talk to the press more than Biden did in 4 years. I bet you that's true.
What?
Can you throw names?
That's an interesting proposal. He's the boss. We'll discuss that. It's going to be great. And I think the American team's going to do it. Here's a great picture. Good luck, everybody. Thank you very much.
That was President Trump speaking in the Oval Office, welcoming in officials from the 2026 World
You
Cup, which will
see,
be held here in the
back in the day, the press would be yelling questions, and there'll be a shoe, press out, press out. All right, got to wrap up the stream now. I got to go take the grandson to his high school marching band that's performing for the first time today. Thanks for being along. Remember, folks, biggest thing you can do, don't need your money, just need your shares, literally. Because right now there's, two viewers on YouTube, 5 on Rumble. So forward this out. Also like it, and then that way you may see my streams more and it'll help other people know what is good stuff to listen to. If you subscribe, that's up to you. But we are trying to get to 9,000. We've been stuck in the 8,000s for months and months and months now. Again, thanks for tuning in. Oh, and online at Hunt for the Truth.